Hello and welcome to our market alert video for today, which is November 22nd, 2024. I hope this video is reaching you healthy, wealthy, and wise. I am Ken Moraif. I'm the founder of Retirement Planners of America, and we are a firm that specializes in the most wonderful of things, and that is the creation of SCWPS. And in case you don't know what SCWPS are, well, SCWPS is the acronym for Second Childhood Without Parental Supervision. When a client of ours retires, we call them a SCWPR, and we tell them to get out of here, stop bothering us, go play, have fun. Let us worry about all this boring financial stuff for you. Our website is rpoa.com. Please check us out. So, as you guys may know, if you followed this video, I am sequestered in my house for the next, until December 11th, because my surgeon, who is very strict, who did my knee replacement, insists that for the first month after the surgery, we are not allowed to leave the house. So I'm actually producing this video for you from my house. And you may be saying, well, Ken, what's up with the tie and the shirt if you're operating from home? Well, this is a uniform. It's just like the military, they have a uniform. Football players have a uniform. When you go to work, you have a uniform. You put on your uniform, even if you're working from home, puts you in the right mindset. I think it's the way you should lead your life. So that's why I do it. I have two things I want to talk with you about this week. One is inflation and where it's going. And of course, that's the big thing with the Federal Reserve. But the other thing I'm going to talk about, since we don't really have a lot to talk about with regard to that, is tariffs, because that's like the big thing right now with the Trump becoming president, and he's promising tariffs, and are tariffs going to cause massive inflation and cause the economy to go into a recession? So I'm going to talk about that with you as well. By the way, you may notice my reading behind me. Since I'm sequestered at home and I don't have anything to do, I'm not allowed to work because pain meds make your brain go crazy. My three favorite things: Fantastic Four, Spider-Man's #1, and of course the Silver Surfer. Awesome story. So let's talk about inflation. All year we've been saying that inflation was going to rise into the end of this year. This is contrary to what you've probably heard from many of the biggest Wall Street firms and all the big economists and all those people who make millions and millions of dollars, forecasting what's going to happen. They said, inflation was going to be down to 2% by May. They said, a lot of them said that there were going to be 7 rate cuts this year. Some even said 12. We said, not till the second half of the year. And that's exactly, all those things have been, what we forecasted in our Fearless forecast at the beginning of the year. Now, our Fearless forecast, we will be coming out with it again in January. That's when we do it for 2025. But for the time being, we think inflation is going to go back up before the year end to be over 3% again. Now, is this a reason to panic and get overly worked up about it? No. And the reason why is because we want to look beyond just the end of this year, and we want to look 6 months into the future. And if we do that, we see that inflation will go up, but then it'll start to come back down. And likely is that by the middle of next year, the Fed may actually reach their goal of 2% inflation. So that being the case, there are some short-term things happening in the bond market, but we don't see those as being things to panic about or make any major moves about. Inflation will go up, come back down, and generally trend over the next 6 months towards the Fed's target. So that's good news. Should bode well for the stock market, should bode well for the bond market. So that's all I have to say about that, as Bubba Gump once said. So I want to talk about tariffs. And, one of the things that we're hearing a lot of hand-wringing, people are saying, oh my gosh, when Trump starts putting all these tariffs on, it's going to slow the economy down. It's going to cause inflation. And, that's going to be a bad thing. Well, certainly, if we go into a recession and we have higher inflation, that would be a bad thing. But let's look at what happened in the first Trump administration. We had the lowest inflation in our country, I think, in 50 years. And we had a thriving, booming economy at the same time. And guess what he did? He put major tariffs on everybody back then, right? I mean, China, everybody. He put all these tariffs everywhere. So the notion that tariffs are automatically inflationary and recessionary flies in the face of what happened during Trump's first administration. So because of that, we kind of take the whole tariffs are going to cause us to have a big bad bear market and recession, etc., with a grain of salt. The other thing also is that we have to understand that what Trump is suggesting is a mirrored tariff approach, meaning if you tariff us 30%, we're going to tariff you back 30%. So part of the calculus that people who think this is all going to be terrible may not be taking into account is that they're saying people might retaliate and increase their tariffs. Well, if they do, it'll only increase tariffs on them. So it would be self-defeating for them to retaliate by raising tariffs. So if anything, what they may do is nothing and accept that we're have higher tariffs on them, or maybe they decide to lower their tariffs, in which case we'll lower ours and the whole thing is good for growth. So it's not a foregone conclusion that if you raise tariffs, that the other countries are automatically going to raise theirs. They may actually lower theirs if the way it's structured is you lower yours, we lower ours, you raise yours, we raise ours. And so because of those two things, our view on tariffs being the causation of recession and bear markets and inflation are overdone. So there you have it. You have our opinion, and you can share it with your friends at the next cocktail party. Now, our view is that next year is shaping up to be a good year with lower regulations, lower taxes, and hopefully we get some cost cutting in the government. That would be fantastic for our economy. And so we view next year as a very strong year for the stock market and for our investments. Having said that, though, we have now gone a long time without a bear market. And we average one every 3 years approximately over the last 100 years. So we're due. And so we could get one next year. It's statistically, reasonable to say that. And it could be severe if I'm wrong about inflation and tariffs and, Trump's policies. And that being the case, we think it's always very important if you're over 50, if you are retired or you are retiring soon, that you have a strategy to address a big downdraft in the market. Because if you're within 5 years of your retirement or you're in the first 5 years of your retirement, if you're in that decade, we consider that to be the single most important decade of your entire financial life. And if you take a big loss during that period, your ability to retire could be impaired. Your ability to enjoy the lifestyle you want during your retirement could be impaired, neither one of which we want for you. So therefore, we believe in having a strategy to address a big down in the market. We call it invest and protect. It is the strategy that told us to sell in November of 2007, before the stock market crash of 2008, told us to stay out for a year and a half during all of the bloodshedding and all of the terrible things that happened during that period, and didn't tell us to buy back in until June of 2009, almost a year and a half later. And the day before the pandemic was announced, our strategy also said to sell. And you know what happened after that. The market went down significantly. Our goal is growth is important, but protection of principal is even more important. And if you're over 50, retired or retiring soon, you're in that decade, we think that's the way you should think. And if that resonates with you, check us out on our website, rpoa.com. Make sure you subscribe to this video. You don't want to miss any of them. We've got a lot of stuff that's going to be coming our way over the next few months, and you want to get our opinion on it, I am sure. All that delicious content, you don't want to miss it ever. So subscribe. So thanks for watching, and we'll talk soon.